Alright guys, we're going to be taking a look at Photoshop. Hopefully you'll pick up a few new techniques that you can apply to your projects. Some of the things I'll be showing you might know. Some of the things hopefully will be new. So let's just dive straight in. First thing we're going to do is, obviously when we start work on any new image, is we duplicate it just in case we screw up and need to dive back. And let's look at deleting some objects from the scene using sort of the clone tool, the clone brushes. One of the things that I tend to do is I'll block out sort of a main area, and then I'll use the stamp tool to kind of sort of work the detailing into it. So the patch tool is really good for this. It's just below the eyedropper. So if you hold down, left click and hold down, it'll give you option to some of the additional tools in here, or you can use sort of the shortcut Shift and J. So the way this works is you draw around the object that you want to remove and give it a bit of an area around the edge, because it's going to kind of feather this in for you, and then you just left click and drag. So here we go. Let's go. We want to get here. Bosh, and it does a reasonably good job. Let's have a go on this one here. Okay, obviously it's not going to work if this is sort of your hero part of your scene, but it's a good start and get you. And it changes the tonality of the image as well. So even if you're bringing in a lighter part over a darker part, it'll do its best to adjust that. So there we go. We've removed those two parts of the trees, and then we can jump onto the stamp tool. You can either press S, or it's this one here, and it's not the pattern stamp, it's the clone stamp you want. The way this works best is if you use a slightly soft brush, have the flow right down so that you can sort of build up layers on top of what you're on top of the image, so you don't get this sort of sharp hard edge. And if you just sample lots of different parts of the image, so you don't get a sort of repeating pattern that your eye is really good at detecting. So this is how it works. If you hold down the Alt key, not sure on the Mac, it might be the Option key, and then you click the part of the image that you want to clone from. So let's just say, for example, it was this window. Hold down the Alt key, and if we left click and drag to where we want the image to be, and then we release, and then you'll see as we start painting, it'll paint in another part of the image. So let's have a go getting rid of this part here. There you go, I'm resampling, I'm just moving over the image. Let's clone in a bit of here. You might get a bit of a soft edge, in which case you can change the flow up. You see I'm changing the size of the brush on the fly. What I'm doing is I'm holding down Control and Alt. Again, I'm not sure on the Mac, but it's Option and something. So Control and Alt on the PC, and if I right click, and drag left and right, it changes the size of the brush. And if I drag up and down, it changes the softness of it. So you can sort of very quickly on the fly. There we go. That would be oops. That's just right clicking. Brings up your brush menu. So I'm going to change it up to something like this. And another quick shortcut, Control and Alt. And if you use your mouse wheel, it zooms in on what you're looking at. And if you hold down spacebar and drag, it moves the canvas around, so you can very quickly dart around the canvas. Let's get some of this in here, try and match up that cable. There we go. So again, you can see you can very quickly sort of clone in areas and match it up. And if you're going to have some geometry sitting in front of it or another part of an image on there, you know, it's going to look all right. There we go. Anyway, so that's the stamp tool. Let's have a look. Let's say we wanted to place some bricks over this image and have it sort of masked out around where the windows are. One of the things we can do, if we just get some brick imagery, I've already loaded this up in Chrome. Remember, when you're working on your images, you want to be working with the largest images possible, or at least that are going to work for the image. You don't want to be scaling things up. We'd rather be scaling things down. So one of the things when you're doing a search in Google, if you hit the search tools, you can choose exact image dimensions that you're looking for, or you can say larger than. And you can also look for different types or colour. I want images that are mainly yellow. This is quite a good tool for that. So anyway, with this, I found some bricks down here, and I right click and I copy the image, jump back to Photoshop, Control V, and if I right click, select transform, if I do Shift and Alt this time, it'll scale it from uniformly, and say I wanted to put them sort of along here. I could right click, go to perspective, and maybe shift things up like this. It takes a bit of mucking about, but another thing I could do is I could create a new layer. So I don't want it to be part of this layer, I want it separate, and I could say go to filter, vanishing point, and again this is already in here, but I'll redo that. So we would select our create plane tool. Let's see, click from here to here. We want to map out this wall, this plane, and then we click there, and that will give us a grid. And then these corner points, we can move them in and out. And let's just see, because if this actually matches up, almost. Just take a bit of tweaking, and we hit this little corner anchor thing, drag that out, and there we go. We've got that matching quite nicely, and we just want it on this bit here. And what I can do is I can go Control V, and that's going to paste it across the top of the whole image, but we've still got our outline here. And what we can do, if we left click and drag anywhere outside of this and drag it onto it, we're going to get it on that plane, and that would have applied the correct perspective shift to that image for us. If it's a big image like this, you're going to have to rescale it. It's a bit of a clunky tool for doing that, but find a corner, hit T on the keyboard, or this little button here for the transform tool, and again we're going to drag in, and if we do Control and Alt, it'll do it double speed basically, because it'll be scaling it from this side and the other side at the same time, and we'll just keep doing that until we get bricks roughly the size we're looking for. Oh shit, here we go. Oops, it's jumping around there a bit. Not sure what's causing it to do that. I've somehow managed to, I'll just Control Z back. Oh. I'm touching my touchpad at the same time. Let's keep doing this. There we go. Something like this. Okay. Let me just hit OK. And there we go. Got our bricks in perspective. Okay, now what you might want to do is you might want to mask out the windows. So there's a variety of different ways and techniques that we can use to do this. One of them is using the pen tool, which is this one here. Press the P for pen, and let's just have a look. If you've got any curves that you might want to mask out, the pen tool is really good for this. It gives you the Bezier curve. Basically gives you all the sort of the effects and everything that you could do in Illustrator within Photoshop. Anyway, let's have a go. Let's first click, and as you drag, it gives you these little handles. And the further this line is, the stronger the effect of the curve is going to be when you click the next area. So, say here, whereas if it was a little tool, it gives you a little curve. Anyway, we don't want a curve in this case. We just want to go around the window. I'm not going to be too tidy about this. But the nice thing about the pen tool is if you want to go back and make modifications, you can. So let's move this here. I'm just going to zip around this. I'm not going to be too careful. Okay, so just around here. Obviously, you'd be a lot more careful with your own projects, just to demonstrate the effect. There we go. And we click there. And essentially what we get, if we click on our layers to the right, we've got paths, and if you haven't got paths, you hit your window key, it's down here, we can show it there. And it gives it a name, default work path. Now you need to change this, or at least create another layer, because if you go and create another path, it's going to overwrite this one. So double click it, top window, right. Now what we can do is if we hold down Control and click that, it's going to give us our marching ants marquee. If we go on to layers and then we show this layer, we're going to say okay, everything within this mask we're going to keep, and everything on the outside we're going to get rid of, which is obviously the wrong way round. So we can either hold down Control Shift and I, and that inverts the mask, and you can see we've now got the ants around the outside. Or if we did have it this way round and we hit this little toggle down here, we could then click the mask and just invert it there, Control I. Now if we'd just done that, it's going to give us quite a sharp hard edge around here, which might be what we're looking for. It doesn't look too bad here, maybe a bit dodgy along here. But if we go back, before we've made that selection, if we hold down Shift and F6, it's going to give us a little dialog to allow us to feather our selection, which just adds a bit of softness. Let's just try it with one or two. We're not going to need any more than that for this. And now when we make our selection, it's going to give us that slightly softer edge. If we click on this, this is our layer, and we click on this, this is our mask. Now if we hold down Control and I, that's done that, which is fine. Let's have a look at another technique. Make sure we click the layer. Actually no, we'll stay on the mask. Zoom in, let's have a look at the Lasso tool. Now we could either manually click around like this, double click to close, or we could use magnetic lasso tool. And what that does is it detects the difference between two parts of the image, and then it sticks the lasso between those, the difference, and we can control that with the contrast and frequency, so you can have a play with those numbers depending on the type of image. But as you can see, as I'm drawing, it's laying down the points for us. As I get to the bottom, if I hold down spacebar, it turns into a little grabby hand, and we can just move the image up and then just carry on with our selection. Here we go. If you want, you can still click, you can add in points manually. You can say OK. If it doesn't quite get there for you, we can sort of force its hand. OK. We might need to go in and refine this. Anything where it's a bit blurry or a bit fuzzy and it's a bit hard to detect where the edge is, we made a mistake there, but never mind. We can go back and correct that in a minute. Hold down space, select all the way up the image. There we go. Click that. Oops. And there we go. So we might have a few bits like this where we need to sort of tidy up areas, or we've missed a bit out. So what we can do is go back to our lasso tool, polygonal lasso. Now, if we hold down Shift, you see it turns into a little plus point next to our. If you hit it loads of times, you get sticky keys. We don't want that. So there we go, and it means I can add to my selection. Control Alt Z steps back. Hold down Alt, and we chop into it. We cut into our selection. So knowing that, we can say, okay, we need to include this little bit here. So let's grab that. That just adds it in there. Might want to tidy that with a minus. There we are. Anyway, we're not here to look pretty, we're here to learn techniques. Okay, so we click back onto our brick layer, make sure we've got the mask selected. If we hold down X, it swaps our foreground and background colours. So we want to make sure black, or we can hit this little arrow here, black is what we want, because we're going to chop into that, and we just hit backspace. There we go. We go back, we hold down Shift, F6, we feather our selection, and then we hit backspace. There we go. Right. Now what we might want to do is blend the bricks in, because they don't look like they're part of this image. So if we hit our layer, and we can try having a look at some of our blending modes, and these can be accessed here. Now if you just click twice to select, and then hit your down arrow, you can cycle through them, and this will change the way the foreground layer interacts with the background layer, so it'll give you different effects. So see what we got. Is there anything that, there we go. Last one, luminosity. So it's dropping all the colour out, and it's just working on the brightness, giving us different tone based upon the brightness of the pixels. So there we go. That might work. These blending modes can be really useful for overlaying. Say you want to, for example, you've got an image and you want to maybe overlay it on someone's arm, make it look like they've got a tattoo, or maybe graffiti. Things like multiply or overlay can work really well for that. It's worth playing with blending modes if you want to get different effects. So let's have a look. Let's put some graffiti on this wall. There we go. Put some graffiti here. Here we go, here's one that I've used before. Let's copy this image. Paste it in here. And right click, select free transform, shift and alt, and drag. Here we go, and let's drop that here. Oops, don't want that. Let's drop these bits out. And before we do anything, let's just try blending mode. Let's see what overlay does. Oh, it's a bit too bright. What about multiply? Oh, that could work. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. And again, we can hit the mask, and on the mask we can paint. So let's get rid of some areas. If we pick a black brush, here we go. Obviously we'd spend a bit more time maybe selecting around this, but you can see how that might work. It's still got that area around it, so maybe we could select this. We want to get rid of it, so if we hit this, and there we are, all of a sudden you've got some graffiti on there. The reason it's nice, the X key that switch between these two, is if you have a brush selected, if you're like, oh, select the mask, if you're sort of painting areas out, if you hit X again, you can sort of paint them back in again very quickly. So it gives you that. You're never actually deleting your image, which is quite nice. Okay, let's have a look at what else we can do with masks. Let's say we want to have a person coming out of this doorway. Let's have a look, say, cartoon man. Let's say we want him. Here we go. Let's copy him. Let's paste him in. M, free transform, shift alt, uniform scale. Okay, let's have him coming out of this doorway. Get rid of all of this. I'll just hit E for erase there, W for marquee selection, for magic wand selection. Okay, now there's a variety of different ways we could do this. Depending on how complex you want to get, you might have multiple layers that you want to have masked. Let's just look at the most simple way first. Okay, so what we could do is we could select, we're going to say we want all of this bit masked here, so we could say, okay, we're going to come in here and we're going to say this, 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 this. I want all of this blot to be hidden here. So I can say, okay, mask it. That's the wrong way round. Anything white we're going to see, anything black we're not going to see. So we can Control I. And now this area is masked. And if you want to see what your mask looks like, if you hold down Alt and click the mask, it's going to show you. And you can paint on that. You can say, oh, I missed a bit out there. Or I want to add more bits up here. I want to be masked up here. So Alt, click that. Now this little chain link thing links your mask to your actual layer. So if we move like this, the whole lot's going to move. Okay, which we don't want to do. So we want to delink. So if we hit the little link in the middle, That's going to mean that the mask moves, or the layer moves independently of each other. Now if we hold down Control, you can move our man. Now you're going to see we're actually moving our man behind our layer. He'll probably pop out here. There he goes. And then when you've got him in place, you can say, okay, I like that, lock it. And now they move. The mask moves with the man. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is we can create a group where we group various layers together. So let's have a look. Let's if you hold down Shift and click it sort of hides the mask. So let's take our man. I'm going to have multiple men, and he's going to appear in different windows. Okay. So we've got these three guys here. Let's group them. There we go. Man. And again, let's apply a mask to this group. So here we go. Click that icon, and again, just like on an image layer, we can do the same thing with the window. Let's just hide that. Let's just very quickly bosh, 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 bosh. Hold down Shift, bosh, bosh. There we are. Look at that. Wonderful masking technique. Aren't I awesome? Here we go. And now let's make sure we've got black selected. Hold down X and then hit backspace. Oops. Select the actual mask layer. There we go. And it's the wrong way round. So we'll go Control I. And there we go. We've got our man in there. And now if we open up our layer, got this guy here, this guy here. Now if we move our man around, he's going to move behind that, because obviously everything below this is not linked. It's linked to the folder, and everything in the folder moves independently. So you can use quite cool techniques. Cool. Okay, another thing you might want to do is you might want to select the background or a certain colour of the image. So for example, let's have a look. Let's have a look for a tree. Okay. I don't know, something like this. Here we go. Let's say we want to get rid of all that white. Copy our tree, paste our tree. That's another thing. If you try to paste on top of a layer that's not selected, it won't paste. It just looks like something weird's happening. So just select the next layer that has a little, or put a little eye selection on it, and then paste, and it will sit on top of it. Okay, so let's say we want to get rid of all of this white. How do we do it? Well, we're not going to go in and individually select all the different bits of white. That would be a nightmare. So what we can do, or at least one trick, is we can say select color range. And it's already actually done that, but what we can do is, if we were to say, let's get rid of all of this. Basically that's selecting all of this colour in the image. So we could say I want all of that green. Well, the easiest way to do it is actually to say I want to get rid of all of the white. So we'll click the white, and if we wanted to add additional colours to it, we could hit this little button and we could say I want all the white and maybe the tree bark, which we don't. We just want the white. So we'll start that again. We'll have all the white. and any areas around there, and then we hit OK. Now if we hit mask, it will have got rid of all of the white. Obviously it's going to have bled into the image, so what we can do to get rid of that is we can refine the edge of the mask. So control click on the mask that we've selected there, and then hit select and go down to refine edge, and that will show you your image on black. If you want to see what it looks like on different layers, we can say reveal on layer, and that will show you what it looks like on behind there. But black's quite good for this image. And then what we could do is we can say decontaminate colours, and that will do its best to remove colour bleed. So say you've got a bit of blue or purple fringing in on it, that will get rid of that. And then we can shift the edge, so that's basically contracting or expanding the mask. That would be expanding it, and that's contracting it. And what we can do is we can feather it slightly. That's a bit too much. I have to manually type these numbers in. Let's say something like this. Contrast will bring it back in again. We don't want that, so we'll keep that down. And smoothing kind of sort of flattens the colours into each other. It's not so good. We don't want that, so we'll turn that off. Leave all of that off. Hit OK. There we go. That would have made a slightly better job of that. And then we can go about colour correcting it after. That's just a quick way of selecting a tree. If I get rid of this disable layer mask, another way would be, I'll tell you what, I'll just paste a whole new layer in there. Another way would be to use level channels. So say what we want to do is we want to find the biggest contrast between the foreground, the image you want to chop out, and its background. So if we click through these, we can go, okay, well, that's a pretty contrasty image. So we'll duplicate the blue. So if we select and drag onto a new layer, that'll give us a new level that we can play with. And then if we hold down Control and L, that will bring up our levels. And as we bring this slider down, it's going to brighten the image. And as we bring this one up, it's going to darken it. So the idea is we want only black and white. Anything grey is going to be semi-transparent. It's just an alpha matte. There we go, something like this. It's pretty good. White's going to show, black's not, so it's the wrong way around. So Control I, and then if we hit Control and click on it, it's going to select it, and then we want to go back to RGB on our layers. And now if we hit the mask, again we get the tree out, and we can do our sort of refining of the edge again to see where we are. So anyway, two different ways, very quick ways of selecting different colours in your image. Right, what else? What else can we look at? Right, let's have a look. Oh yeah, one other thing with a mask that we might do. Let's have a picture of, I don't know, something like the sky. Just copy this image. Oh, click my key. Okay, and let's. let's just say we wanted to blend that up smoothly. One of the things we can do is just select your mask. If you select black and white, and where we've got the paint bucket tool here, we hold that down and select gradient tool. If we hold down shift, it'll constrain. We won't get a wonky angle. We can just go up and down. We slide that up. What it will do is it'll create a smooth gradient. So the smaller you do it, the smaller the gradient. If we move it up like this, the smoother it is. So again, it's if you want to blend things on top of each other, this is quite a nice way of doing it. Let's see, you've got another one there. Then you could take your paintbrush and you could make sure it's all the way down. You could just sort of paint in areas softly. Anyway, that's how we can do gradients. And I think that's about it. I mean, there's loads of other things we can look at. If there's any specifics, obviously just ping me an email, or we'll just flag it up next time in our next lesson. But I think these main techniques, if you can get them down, they'll be the things that will be most useful for you. And it just takes practice, basically. So anyway, hope this is for help, guys, and see you guys next week.